Hi guys, Abe here of the PocketBot Collective. And today we're gonna have a look at Missile Tank Robo. Not a very original name, but a very cool little bot. Before we get into this guy and the character and what he represents, we have to dive into history a little bit. Now, this guy is based on this little toy that I'll put on the screen. And that toy is the original Missile Tank Robo, so to say. He was originally made for Bandai's Machine Robo series. And later taken on by Tonka for their GoBots series. Which was the same toy. But it was packaged, marketed differently. On one hand, we have the Bandai version. On the other hand, we have the Tonka GoBots version. Both toy lines also were accompanied by a cartoon. Missile Tank Robo appeared in the Revenge of Kronos cartoon, part of the Machine Robo line. And he also appeared in the GoBots cartoon. He looks a bit silly there, but actually the head sculpt that they used for the GoBots cartoon is more in line with the original head sculpt of the little toy. There we go. Eventually in the Machine Robo cartoon series he just developed as is, whereas in the GoBot series he got a restyle, a little makeover, which gave him a different face and also a different colorway, which then also translated into his toy, because his toy was recolored with the green and orange. But there you go, that's kind of the history behind what we're looking at now. So, Missile Tank Robo. What does he come with, and why does he sit in my Legend Class collection? That's the question. Well, what he comes with is, of course, a set of instructions, which is always handy, although he feels quite natural to transform. We had a look at the box already in the previous shots. Robot on one side, vehicle form on the other side, blah blah at the bottom. Now, the packaging actually says Machine Robo Revenge of Kronos. So he's supposed to represent the Bandai character. Not so much the GoBots character, although yeah, a lot of the characters from the Revenge of Kronos line carried over to the GoBots. But this here, and I can not read Japanese, but I think this is actually the logo for Machine Robo Revenge of Kronos, like it was produced back when. So yeah, there we go, as far as the box goes. Then he also comes with this. It's a little modular system, because you can take this whole thing apart. I won't actually take the whole thing apart. This also splits in two pieces, and you can build it up in different ways. Also has these pieces here, which are what we are used to from other Transformers. Connector pieces that can elevate the robot, so to say, mid-air, depending on how you build up this base. Just like we know from flight stands and whatnot from the Transformers line. So, let me just put this to the side for a minute. Then we have, of course, our little missile tank. And we will have a look at him in a minute, but I first need to do this. Also comes with these two missiles. We have two slots they can be attached with, and technically it's a two-piece thing, because this is just friction held in there, but it holds well. And he has a set of two. We'll get to that in a minute. this is what I want to have a look at first, because the reason he sits in my collection is actually because of this book that I got for Christmas. It's the Transformers pop-up book. Now, I won't review the entire book right now, but in this book, oh, what is that there at the bottom? Does that kind of look familiar? I know it's not an exact copy, and I don't know where the inspiration came from for this book, but this book is from around the same time all these figures were around, so to say. So it could very well be that they based this generic machine Robo on Bandai's design. I don't know. But I knew that this existed, and when I got this pop-up book for Christmas 2021, I was like, hold on, it would actually be cool to have this vehicle and reenact the story of Magnus fighting Starscream. So there you go, that's why he sits in my collection. But let's have a look at him, shall we? Now, here we go. It is a very cool looking vehicle. Nice paint apps. Has die-cast parts on here. The pieces here above the treads and stuff, that's die-cast. Plastic. Detailing, molding. Very clean from the bottom. Well, obviously, if you know Transformers, then you know that these will become legs. But besides that, it's very nicely done. Nice flake paint for the windows. Yeah, the orange is being a bit funny on camera, but it is very nicely done. What I also like about this is that everything is tabbed in. Nothing is loose. There's tabs all over this thing. If you're wondering what this is sticking out the back, that's actually the robot gun, which is held in between the thighs here. I see one popped out. There we go. And also with a peg inside. So also that is very secure. Now, he also has some articulation. There's no wheels, but this bit can actually go up and rotate all the way around. Can even go up further. So if you put missiles on there, he has a little launch pad. And there's also some molded detail in there. I don't know if you can see it, if the camera will focus on it, but there you go. So this is very nicely done. And even with this up, it's still very clean. So that is awesome. Now, like I said, the missiles have two slots you can pack them into. There's also one tab up there and one tab on the side. Same for the other side. So you have various options. I'll show some of them off on the rotational table now. There you go. Pretty cool looking missile tank. Now, just for some size comparison in vehicle mode, I already said I like that he comes from the pop-up book. So let's bring in Magic Square's original Magnus. So this is the all-in-one. We have a review of him on the channel as well. And why not bring in Core Class Starscream as well? So there you go. That is him for size comparison. So you can see that he's a pretty much the size of a core class figure, just way more articulation. Alright, now let's get into transformation, shall we? Of course, we need to take the missiles off first. I mean, I think you can leave them on there anyways, but let's take them off. And let's remove this gun so we can have a quick look at it. And so I can show you how it was attached. There you go, there's a hole. And he sits between these two little bits of the thighs. Pretty cool looking gun. You might find it a little bit funny looking with that flat thing on top, but that is because the gun itself can again, let's put it there, hold the missiles, and that way you can give the robot a rocket launching weapon in his hand. But we'll get into that later. Put these to the side for now, and let's get him transformed, shall we? There you go, Missile Tank Robo in his robot form. And I'm not sure if I mentioned earlier in the review, but in GoBots he was actually called Blaster. Not to be confused with the Autobot Blaster that we know, of course. Now there we go, a very cool looking robot. Don't know if you noticed the leg transformation. Very unique, but again, very secure. This guy is great. Tolerances are perfect on him. I gave him his little weapon. I will show you what it looks like with the missiles attached. But you know what? Let's do that when we have a look at him, because also in robot mode you have various options with those missiles. So I will take it out of his hand for now. Let's have a look at his noggin first. The orange is giving me a bit of difficulty with the lighting, but there you go. I'm glad they didn't keep the original head, but went more for the Revenge of Kronos cartoon head, because this looks cool. The head is die cast as well, or at least the faceplate is. Chest piece is die cast. Like I said, leg pieces are die cast. Not sure if the front of the knee is also die cast, could be, but there's quite a bit of die cast used on this figure. Head is on a ball joint, so it can go all the way around. Even do the confused look. Can have a look down. Can have a slight look up. Confused look up. There you go. Arms are on ball joints. So we'll get you the full range. Cut at the bicep with a mushroom peg. Single hinged elbow, but with great range. Sorry, I popped something out there. Hands are on little ball joints, kind of like Iron Factory is doing now. So yeah, enough range there. Has a waist swivel all the way round. Because of his upper torso being two pieces, so to say, a front and a back, he doesn't have an ab crunch. Hips are on ball joints, cut at the thigh, so that gets you the full range. Also out. And knee is also 90 degrees. And you have the foot part is also on a, is it a ball joint? I think so, yeah. So you get some up, you get some down, and you get a bit of a rocker. Plenty to get him posed, I think. So yeah, this is a very cool figure in my opinion. I know they did a couple more, but this one stood out for me. Also because of the pop-up book, of course, that I think he integrates well. Now, let's have a quick look at some weapon options before we go into size comparisons. And there you go, plenty of options. Now, as far as scale comparison in robot mode, I will bring in my Magnus again. And I think these guys scale pretty well together. Bear in mind, this is pretty much the smallest of the Magni that are out there right now. So if you have one of the slightly bigger Magnuses, it might actually scale even better. So there you go. And there he is with Core Class Starscream, who I don't think wants to take on both of these guys. There you go. And I guess just for good measure, I will also bring in our boy. iron factories run about. So you can see how he scales. He's a bit on the taller side as far as robot goes. He's one of those robots that has a fairly small vehicle size, fairly compact, but as a robot opens up, so to say. But I still think he scales very well, and I would like to think that these two guys would run into battle together. Two heavy-duty boys, just armed up and ready to kick some Decepticon butt. Alright, that is it for Missile Tank Robo. I really like him. He's a really well done figure as well. Like I said, solid alt mode that tabs in everywhere, but is still articulated with the well, you can't call it a turret, of course, but the rotational missile launcher on his back, and a really fun and good looking robot mode with some interesting transformation steps, like the legs. Never seen that on anything else before. Very clever, very clean, very solid. But that, of course, is my opinion. Let me know what you think and whether you would consider getting this guy. Alright, thank you guys for watching once again, and I will see you next time. Ape out!